Hello and welcome to the Blue Water Running Podcast. I'm your host, Maren, and this podcast features and celebrates the achievements of high school and collegiate cross-country and track and field athletes from the Blue Water area of Michigan. Our episode guest is Leo Burse, a senior at Yale High School. While local Blue Water area athletes might recognize Leo from around the BWAC, what they might not know is Leo is also a racewalker and a steeplechaser. Leo recently won the Michigan USATF Junior Olympic Championships in the 3,000-meter racewalk and the 2,000-meter steeplechase in Olivet on June 21st. He also won the regional championship in both events in Louisville, Kentucky in July, qualifying for the USATF Junior Olympics national meet at Savannah State University in Georgia. Before the heat index of 110 degrees plus suspended the meet for a heat delay, Leo was able to finish 16th in the steeplechase and 4th in the racewalk. His PR in the racewalk is 1937, and in the steeplechase, it's 7:29. We'll learn about racewalking and steeplechasing and what they're all about, interesting and unique facts about these events, and we'll also get to know Leo personally as an athlete as well. Welcome to the Blue Water Running Podcast, Leo.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, you are the first guest to come on who has done both the steeplechase and racewalking. Kind of an interesting combination. So I think it'll be an interesting conversation because I know zero about racewalking, but I find it very intriguing. So I'm glad that you're here to inform us on all things regarding that event. So first question, how did you get into racewalking? I mean, it's not something most people grow up doing. You don't see it very frequently in high school or really even in college. It's not offered at any high school meet that I think I'm aware of. So how do you get into that? How do you find places to compete? Tell us what first got you started.
All right. So that's a pretty interesting question. So this started a long time ago, probably back when I was around, I want to say like 7 or 8 years old. My dad he's the coach of the Yale track team. So, you know, I've been involved in track my entire life, but he hosted this event called the Festival of Fortitude. And we had all these friends and stuff over. And one year he hosted the racewalk, and it was really basic, right? We're just like walking around this field. My uncle was officiating it, and I got disqualified like immediately. And I don't know what that was, but it really stuck with me. He's like, come on, I should be able to do this. So ever since then, it's been kind of, sparked an interest in the event.
Okay. Now let's shift gears a little bit to steeplechase. How did you first get into doing that? Because obviously that's very different than racewalking.
Yeah, steeplechase that was me really, because I love hurdles and I also really like distance running. So, why not put them together, right? That's kind of the thought process there. And it turns out I was right. I really enjoy it. Okay. So that one's just kind of a passion. Well,
let's backtrack a second to how do you find chances to compete in either of these in Michigan or beyond?
Yeah, that's the real trouble. So steeplechase is offered at pretty much any AAU or USATF meet that are hosted at colleges. So, you'll find a few during the summer. I'm not sure outside of the summer season. I highly doubt there's really any going on. Racewalk, on the other hand, it's hard. USATF and AAU, they have 3 rounds of their what they call the Junior Olympics. And the first one's usually at some high school or like Oakland University or Olivet, somewhere local. And you'll be lucky if they even have judges that show up to watch you walk. Oh. So the first real, some of them do, but like the real way to get into racewalking is that you have to go out of state, like go somewhere eastward a bit where they have high school racewalking.
Okay.
Or possibly one time I went to Canada. We'll touch on that later. But yeah, it was, you really have to go seek it out if you want to do it.
Well, let's define racewalking. So how is racewalking technically different from running? So can you break down the difference, key technique rules that we might need to know, like what makes you a racewalker and not a runner?
All right, yeah. So there are 2 rules. The one is that you have to have 1 foot on the ground at all times, detectable by the unaided human eye. That little bit at the end is very important because if you look at any professional, they're definitely not following that rule. The other one, which is definitely the harder one, is that your knee has to be locked and straight until it's underneath your hip again. So you almost have to walk like peg-legged. And that's where all of the complexity of the sport comes from, really.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. Every time I see it, I think that kind of looks like it hurts. To me, it seems like an unnatural motion versus running is kind of natural. Do you feel that that's true? Like you have to
absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
The weird part is that it makes your shins and the back of your ankles like really sore. Like almost to the point where you have to like train those specifically for the race walk. It's weird. Like your quads and like your typical running muscles, like your hamstring and your quads, it's not as bad.
Okay. Well, I would imagine, you're putting pressure in different ways. So what part of the technique is probably the hardest to master, do you think? Is it your hips? Is it your leg being straight? Keeping your feet on the ground? It's
definitely the straight leg. Like the keeping 2 feet on the ground, the real term for it is lifting. That's really easy, really. Pretty much no one struggles with that unless you're really good and you're pushing it almost on purpose. The bent leg is where the real problem arises. You have to, in order to prevent it, you have to have your toes up like at all times when you're walking. And it's really hard once you get like like the races I was doing is the 3K. Once you're on like lap 4, it's so bad.
Oh,
like,
you're getting tired.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what do you think is the biggest misconception that people have about race walking? Just a general stereotype that's not correct.
Okay, can I do 2? Because there's 2 huge ones.
Absolutely.
Okay. Number 1 is that speed walking and race walking are different things.
Oh.
Speed walking is kind of you got your moms in the mall and they're like speed walking through it just to walk as fast as possible.
Right.
Race walking is this cutthroat, like defined, really almost uppity, like, oh yeah, you have to follow this specific rule set. So that's one.
Okay.
And hold on, let me think of the other. Oh yeah, the other thing is that people always think that the hip rotation thing is like, oh man, it looks like that hurts and stuff. It really isn't. If you look closely at like a runner, they're also doing the same thing with their hip rotation. It's just that they're in the air and you can't really tell that they're doing it.
Interesting. So yeah, that was my misconception. Oh, it looks like it hurts. But no.
Yeah, it hurts in a different way.
Well, I can imagine there's some stamina and endurance involved for sure. Now, I know that you participate in high school track, as you mentioned. So when you're in your track season, but then you know that race walking is coming up for you in the summer, how do you get ready for that? I mean, are you running as part of your training? Are you cross training? Are you doing specific race walking techniques or practices? How does that work?
Yeah, so for the most part, like I said, I'm a cross runner, so a lot of that, like the endurance stuff, kind of takes care of itself. Especially because the races I'm doing is like a 1500 or a 3K, so it's not really the distance I'm worried about. It's more that technique, that specific. You have to do these certain drills where you like walk down the middle of a lane line between like 1 and 2 and try to get your legs right in front of each other, stuff like that. And most of the time I do that, like, if the coach isn't looking, I'll do it on the warm up lap or just kind of slip it in here and there during the actual track practice just to get some extra reps in.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Yeah, it's really not that different from running.
Okay. Well, let's talk about steeplechase. Like you said, you're a hurdler. Have you been training for the specific water jump part of the steeplechase? Is there anything you do for that?
Yeah, okay. So the water jump is really interesting because not only are you jumping over water, but you have to cut into the track early. And something that I've noticed in like busier races where, you could be in a pack of people is that it's an awkward angle to get on the track to. And then since you're jumping up on the structure and jumping over it, it's really hard to like, get yourself a clearing to even perform that jump. Like the last one I did, I had to like almost stutter step just because there was a guy too close in front of me to do it. So that's something that you don't even think about. But the water jump itself, it's scary, honestly, because, you're watching it on TV and it doesn't seem that hard. But when you get there in person, that thing comes up to like your chest. Yeah. And you just have to like fling yourself full speed at it and not break stride.
Yeah. The angle's pretty steep. I always worry about that. I mean, you're landing and then you're kind of on this incline to come
Yeah.
back up, and I feel like that would be really dangerous because it's slippery.
Yeah, the goal is you want to have 1 foot wet every time, and preferably the same leg. That's not a huge deal, but
Mm-hmm.
like if you want to get yourself like right to the end, just so you
Mm-hmm.
have one soggy shoe, which is arguably worse, but you know.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they keep talking about my son doing it, and I'm like, ooh, because
No, it's a lot of fun. Yeah.
I feel like there's so much injury potential in that versus a straight up running race. It makes me a
Yeah.
little nervous.
Almost every race, there's some guy that, like I said, they mistimed the jump or something, and
Mm-hmm.
they get caught and they do a front flip over it. And
Ugh.
something a lot of people don't understand is that the pit's really deep. Like it gets shallow quick.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go like straight down, it's like 4.5 feet deep or maybe 5. Like it's really deep.
Yeah, that's a significant amount of water in there too.
So there's some guys just drenched that you're running next to.
Oh gosh. That would be really intimidating for me. I could never jump a hurdle. I would come up to it and it would be this mental thing like, I can't. Then I would just stop. So I never did hurdles. Kudos to anybody who does. Now, speaking of hurdles, what do you find harder, the water barrier or a regular stretch of like 110 highs?
Yeah, I mean, it really doesn't come as much to a surprise. It is the wet barrier.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously just because of that water bit, and it's kind of stressful because the entire time, like as soon as you jump it, you're just like, okay, that's over with, and then you're thinking of the next one.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of the hurdles just kind of fall into place. Something I will say though, it's really hard to a lot of distance runners will know what I'm saying here. Once you like, if you set a pace, it's easy just to kind of keep it, even if it's fast.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have to do some jumping or turning or any sort of
Yeah.
change in velocity, it's really hard to get back and set that pace again. And that happens every hurdle. So I will say none of the hurdles are easy, but that water jump is definitely the hardest.
Yeah, you probably lose quite a bit of momentum too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, do you train mostly solo for race walking or steeplechase, or have you been able to, work out with other athletes who are doing the same events?
Yeah, so this summer I haven't done crazy amounts of training. In summers past, I've done some work with Sadie Dykstra. You had her on here before.
Yep.
We came out to the track and we did some hurdles and stuff. I really practiced them separately for steeplechase. Like, I would do hurdles one day and then like 300 hurdles one day maybe, and then just some distance running the other at our normal summer practices. The training kind of takes care of itself.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm assuming, wearing specific shoes for race walking. Yes.
Yeah. So that's another thing. You want shoes that are really flat, which seems kind of counterintuitive because you would want it to be like, those nice big spongy Hokas, but
Mm-hmm.
keeping that heel up is really hard. So you want to have as least padding as possible on the bottom without like injuring your foot. So this is actually this one pair of Sauconys. They're like lime green. It's the one I have.
Okay.
And I'm telling you, like every race walker has them. Like I think like it's like 70% of the guys I race against are wearing those exact pair of shoes because they're just the right ones.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you find something good and it works, then obviously it's the way to go.
And of course, word of mouth spreads it through the small community, and now everyone has it.
Well, how about steeplechase? Are you just wearing regular track spikes for that?
Yeah, I have this pair of I call them my watermelon shoes because they're like lime green and hot pink.
Mm.
I've had them since like 7th grade, and they're like rotted to the max. Like they're in really bad shape, but like they're just my wet shoes now. So anytime I'm on like a wet course or steeplechasing, I wear those. So
Yeah, it doesn't take much to get those gross, I bet.
No.
Yeah. Well, I know in race walking there are warnings. Are they called red card warnings? Is that correct?
Yeah. So
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, tell us about those because that's a totally different thing than track too.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So I'll back it up a little bit. So there's judges on the track. I believe there are, I want to say 6. But I've seen a meet before where there are 8. So I'm not really sure. It might change depending on the distance.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be 1 on each curve, and then there's 2 on each straightaway. And they'll give you a warning paddle first most of the time because the judges aren't there to disqualify you. They don't really want to disqualify you. Well, some of them aren't, but most of the time they'll give you a paddle and I'll have either like a right angle on it to show you have a bent knee or like those squiggly line to show that you're lifting. And
Mm.
those are the only two things that you'll get called on. But if it's egregious, they can just give you a red card. Or if they see you like a second or third time, they go, okay, that's it. Then they'll do a red card. The interesting thing though is that judges can't red card you twice, and it's anonymous.
Oh, so you mean the same judge or judges in total?
The same judge, yeah.
Oh, okay. So they can't be like, oh, here's another one.
Right. Yeah. So like if you have suspicions that this cranky guy is giving you
Yeah.
a card and it's like maybe he's turned his back on you when you're walking around, it's like, okay, this guy isn't watching me anymore. He can't do anything about it if you decide to push it a little bit. Not like, you're not like running, but it's like, oh, no need to worry about my knee anymore around this guy. It's clear he carded me.
Hmm. So how many red cards can you get in a race?
So yeah, that depends on the distance. So
Right.
I'll talk about the 3K.
Okay.
Traditionally, race walk is a lot farther. You do like a 10K or a half marathon or possibly a marathon. But at the high school level,
Hmm.
we only do the 1500 indoor and the 3K outdoor. So in the 3K, you get 4 cards total before you're disqualified. And this is the interesting part. The third red card puts you in the penalty box. So there's like this little coned off area off to the side of the track that you have to walk over to, and they make you sit there for like 30 seconds or something before you can get back on.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. It's like hockey.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, the shame. Take the walk of shame over to the
Yeah.
penalty box.
Yeah. Go sit in the penalty box.
Oh my gosh.
There's also a board that tells you how many cards you have. So you're not completely in the dark about it.
Hmm.
But like I said, like you're playing a guessing game on which ref or which judge gave you what card.
Right. So, okay, let's say you're getting egregious warnings and they're like, that's it, you're done. Do they pull you out? Or do
Yeah,
you
okay,
just
so
keep getting more penalties and then they're like, hey, you're dead last because you had, 10 minutes of penalties or whatever.
yeah, I've seen it multiple different ways. So most of the time, this no shade here, but most of the time, all the refs are like over 70. Like they're all old.
Hmm. Hmm.
And they're also kind of cranky at all times. So most of the time I see kids like it's almost like you're watching like a cartoon. They have like this cartoonish cane that they have pull out into the track and they like rip you off.
So that is
So-
a real thing.
yes, like people like run on the track and like grab you and say like you're done and they pull you
My
off the track.
word.
Yeah, it's pretty scary.
I would imagine that would be so humiliating. I mean,
you're already
maybe they don't
race walking.
care, but I would be mortified.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
You have to have some level of shame to do the sport in the first place. So
Well, it's just a different mindset of racing. I did have a collegiate athlete tell me that they believed that if an athlete at a national meet was getting lapped, that they should do that. They should
Yeah.
get a cane and pull him off. So I thought he was joking that was a thing, but apparently, as you're saying, it really is. Ooh.
yeah, sometimes they have. I've seen it with like not an actual cane, but there's like a stick with like a red flag on the end or something that they'll wave in front of your face, or like they might poke you, or some guy walks onto the track and grabs you. Like
Oh.
it's not nice.
No. Well, glad that's never happened to me. But I've also never race walked. So, okay. So, wow. This is a great segue into the next question because how do you stay mentally focused on a race when there's so many form rules and judgment calls that are being made while you're trying to also be fast?
Yeah, that's really hard, and honestly, that's probably the hardest part of race walking. Um, you have to find ways to like entertain yourself, very much like cross country running. Like I really like I'm all about strategy and gaming the system and stuff. So I'm constantly guessing on which refs are, oh, this guy's looking for the knee, this guy's looking at whatever, trying to math out, the race strategy from there. And that takes up most of my time, but sometimes you just get stuck on an island, like, right? No one's by
Mhm.
you. It's beaming down 90-degree heat.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh my God. And you just got to be mentally strong like you do in any other race. Tough it
Hmm.
out. But
So, would you say that there are more female athletes in race walking or male, or is it pretty equal across both genders?
Yeah, this is interesting. There are way more women than men.
Okay.
Like I'd say almost 2 to 1 or maybe more. Like
Okay.
it's I don't ask me why. I have no clue, but in my experience, there's definitely been way more women.
Okay. Do they ever race you together, or are you always kept in two separate races?
Yeah, I say it's about 50-50. Half the time we race together, half the time we don't.
Okay. Well, would you like to see race walking? I mean, as an event in MHSA track and field, do you think that there's enough interest that that would be something that people would consider doing?
Yeah, I would be a huge fan of it. I love diversity in the track events. I'm a huge fan of the decathlon and all that stuff. So I would love to see racewalk become a high school event. I mean, they have it in Maine, and it's not a problem over there.
Okay.
I think the main complaint would be that it would take forever, but whatever.
Oh,
Track meets are
that's
long
true.
Anyways.
Right. Well, they could maybe do it during the 2 mile.
Yeah, or how about you have the 2 mile off the track and then you can race walk while it's going on.
Yeah, that was always like, oh man, it's the 2 mile and then the mile relay. So
yeah.
You knew you had enough time to warm up because that took a while. Well, how about steeplechase? Would you like to see that as a high school event?
Yeah, I mean, okay, and I think I'm speaking for most people here. I think steeplechase should be a high school event, but the obvious elephant in the room here is the water pit. It'd be really expensive for every track, as well as the barriers themselves are super pricey. But yeah, absolutely. If money's no object, we should do it.
I know when they redid the track where I went to school at Spring Arbor, they did put in a steeplechase water jump pit. And I always wondered, where does the water go when you're done? Do they have a drain and they just open it? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so most of the time there's just like a cover that they put on top, and that water is nasty. Like,
I was going to say, if it's sitting there, it's not filtered like a pool. I mean, it's not getting clean.
No, it's like all green. There's like algae in the bottom.
Don't get it in your mouth and swallow it.
No, that's why you got to be at the end. Don't jump anywhere near that.
Oh, that's disgusting.
It smells too.
Oh, wow. Okay, well. Note to self, if I ever do steeplechase, run over there and drop in a few Clorox tablets, perhaps, prior to jumping. Ugh. All right. Well, do you have future plans to keep race walking or steeplechasing? I mean, are you hoping to do that in college or, maybe try out for a team?
That's the big question. So race walk only happens in NAIA. Well,
yes,
let me address this first. Like, I'm a way better race walker than I am a steeplechaser. In steeplechase, I'm just some, random guy like anyone else is. I'm not like college level talent or like D1 or anything. Race walk though, I really could go pursue NAIA.
Okay.
But it's kind of clashing with my academic goals too. Because I really have had my eyes on like Michigan and Michigan State for my colleges for the longest time. And obviously they don't have race walk. So that's kind of a decision I have to make. I'm kind of leaning towards no, but you never know. If I get some sort of offer or whatever.
Right.
Look into it.
Yeah, we saw the indoor race walk when I saw my kid run at nationals, and then they do the outdoor as well. But I believe in the Olympics, it's a marathon.
Yeah,
I think, and they race walk faster than I've ever run a marathon. It's insanely fast. I think like low 6 minutes, maybe under.
Yeah, they're right around like a 18 flat 5K pace, I think.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I mean, my best 5K ever was an 18 flat. So that is mind-boggling to me.
Well, like they're on the road too. And they got these guys breathing down their necks about their form and whatnot.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
I can't imagine trying to maintain that for 26.2 miles. How many red cards can you get in that span? And how are they watching them? Are they just driving next to them with their cane, ready to pull them off the road? Too many for you, buddy.
They get 300 judges lined up.
Yeah, that would be a interesting thing to see. All right. Well, let's go on to some more personal questions about you as a person. So if your track season could have a theme song, what would you have picked?
Okay, this is kind of an interesting question. I'm really into music.
Okay.
So I was kind of thinking about this last night, and the one I would like to pick is Octavarium by Dream Theater. It's progressive metal, so I'm highly doubtful that anyone's heard of it.
I have never heard it, but now I'm interested.
Yeah. So it's like this 20-minute long song, and it's all about 8, the number 8. So, you could look into it and I can go on for days about how many eights are in the song. Like every little intricate piece of it includes eights.
Huh.
But the reason why that number eight is so significant to me is that I don't want to come across as like egotistical or anything. It's just really exciting. I'm really looking for that eighth BWAC win for
Okay.
our programs this year. So
That's not egotistical. That's just having a goal. That's a
yeah,
good thing.
I'm really real hyped for it, and it's like, oh, well, that's a nice coincidence there. So
Yeah. I'm pretty sure you're not the only person that said that either. So it's, yeah, pretty common goal there. All right. Well, speaking of your team, what's the best track tradition or even cross country you could mention too that your team has? A tradition that is really cool. It's kind of been something that's gone through the program for years and you find, fun or interesting.
Okay, well, I mean, there's always quite a few. Like we always have a great time at cross camp and something. But the one that's really personal to me is back when my brother was still in high school. We did it last year. It wasn't the same without him, but we had this event called the Open Burst at the end of the track season, where my dad, my brother, and me all lined up and ran 100.
Oh,
We had like sometimes my dad would get a handicap and stuff, and he never won, but
I was just going to ask. I'm pretty sure I can assume who didn't win. No shade on your dad, but
No.
youth definitely plays a role. So, but who did win?
My brother did both
Okay,
times. He was
okay.
quite fast, but
Yeah. Oof.
that's
I don't
close.
know. If somebody was going to challenge me to a race, it definitely wouldn't be 100 because that was never my forte. And at my age, I would like blow out a hammy or something. It would not end well.
Yeah, trust me, that wasn't my choice either. It was my dad that didn't want to run anything more.
Oh, I see. Well, I feel like the farther we go, the more my advantage picks up. So,
Right.
all right. Well, what event would you never want to do?
Oh man,
You're like, I'd never try that. It sounds horrible, awful, scary, or very unpleasant.
you kind of put me on the spot here. So I like I made it my mission to try like every single event. Like I really love like all of them. I think one I would never pick would be probably shot put.
Mm.
Just because obviously I'm a distance runner, so I'm
Mhm.
not built for that.
Mhm.
I'm afraid of like tearing out my rotator cuff or something, throwing around that 12-pound shot everywhere.
Ooh, yeah. Well, I will say I'm going to have the coach from Kaizen Throws come on. We were supposed to have a podcast, but we had to reschedule. But he really believes that if you do it with the right form and you understand the technique, you shouldn't get injured, which
Oh,
makes
I'm
sense.
sure. Yeah, it's just
but
not me
most
though.
of us just go out and we like chuck it like a baseball, and then
Right.
obviously
Yeah. Right, there it goes.
that's not how you do it. All right. So if you could meet any pro athlete in any event or sport, doesn't even have to be track and field, who would you like to meet and why?
Well, I'll bring it back around the shot, but I think I'd like to meet Ryan Krauser.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you could call it meeting him, but when we went to my family went to the Olympic trials a
Mhm.
few years ago in Eugene, and he came around after he broke the world record and he was giving a high five. So I did give him a high five.
Sweet.
But I like to I follow him on social media and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and he just seems like a really awesome guy, and I like what he's doing for the American shot putting scene. So
Yeah.
he's gonna be my choice there.
Well, I have to ask, did that high five hurt?
Yeah, his hand was huge. Like
I was
it's
going to say,
unbelievable
he's
how big his hand is.
monstrous.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would just be like, oh. All right, this or that. So, compete under the lights or in the morning?
I'm gonna have to go under the lights because I'm not gonna be
Yeah.
up in the morning.
Yeah. Well, I just think it's cool to run under the lights too.
Right, yeah.
Okay, crowd cheering or music in your headphones?
Definitely crowd cheering. I don't think I've ever done any sort of like competitive competition with like earphones in or anything.
Okay. Well, I've run the marathon a few times, and
Right.
there comes a point where, unless it's the Boston Marathon, at least for me, like I needed just some refocusing and some music and like to change my mindset a little bit. But everybody's different.
Yeah.
All right, win by a little or PR by a lot?
I'm gonna have to go by win by a little because I'm all about that. I think the most fun from sports comes from like that team aspect and being able to share that with everyone. So, PR is obviously a goal, but my number one motive every competition, regardless of the sport, is to have the team win. So I'm gonna go by win by a little. That's always super
like it.
exciting.
Yeah, well, and it was really close for you guys
Yeah.
this year for cross country. You had some really close scores, so
Yeah.
I get it. All right, medal or meet t-shirt?
Oh man, this one's really tough. So on the one hand, medals are awesome on the spot, but that t-shirt, every time you wear it, you remember that meet. I'm gonna have to go with t-shirt, I think.
Okay. Well, I will say for sure, even though being all state's amazing and it's quite the accomplishment and, it's very noteworthy, the MHSAA state meet t-shirts are better than the medals.
Absolutely.
I don't know if you've ever seen one, but
yeah,
it's
they're
like,
really bad.
Yeah, we've talked about that with a few, like Sadie and I talked about that. Like,
Yeah.
they look like they're from Amazon.
They're like 1 inch
All
wide.
Yeah, I feel like at that stage in what you've accomplished, you should get something a little more high quality. But, I'm not in charge. All right, hype or chill music?
Definitely hype. I'm one of my favorite music genres is power metal, where they have double kick drums and double lead guitar going the entire time. I can't get enough of it, so it's all about that speed for me.
All right. Well, I mean, have you ever practiced for races with that in your ear?
Oh, yeah. So like whenever I run on my own, like Friday, Saturday runs,
Yeah.
all the time, it's like I find like the fastest song I can find and put it on.
Well, I'm not sure my body could keep that tempo, so I'm not that I'm running with Enya or anything, but still, All right, well, it has been really cool to hear about racewalking. Now I feel like I want to go watch something, get inspired and see something new. It's always cool to hear about different perspectives from track and field, and I'm really appreciative of you taking time out and educating us in all things racewalking and steeplechasing.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It was fun. I'm glad I could
Absolutely.
spread the gospel.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Please share an episode to help spread the word about Blue Water Running's mission, which is to feature and celebrate the achievements of high school and collegiate cross-country and track and field athletes from our area. You can also subscribe and leave a review. You can find the Blue Water Running podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and other major media players. You can also ask your smart speaker to play the Blue Water Running podcast. You can follow Blue Water Running on Instagram, X, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube, along with meet and athlete reports and photography on the website at bluewaterrunning.org. Coverage of Blue Water Running is sponsored in part by Elite Feet of Port Huron. If you need running shoes, spikes, or apparel, they have a friendly and knowledgeable staff to help you find just what you need, and they've spent years supporting local athletes in our area. They're located at 327 Huron Ave in downtown Port Huron. Verlandy Insurance, located in Richmond, Michigan, is also a supporter of coverage on Blue Water Running. Training as an athlete teaches you resilience and preparation. Apply those lessons to your life with their insurance plans. Be ready for anything with them by your side.